Hello. welcome, one and all. I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. Obviously, we'll probably still end up talking about, I'm sure, some sort of politics, I'm sure. But this is the mini. I've got to do some cutaways of it at the moment. I don't know if you can see it too much, but it is quite good. It's just got a load of, you can see, 3D printed. So I've got to cut some of the stuff away from it to begin with before we start painting it. But that's where we'll begin. Anyway, good evening, everyone joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. Lee, good morning. Lucky, 57-year-old, having an amazing group of players and fantastic spot and venue. Running and playing D&D keeps your mind active and sharp. Yes, indeed, it does. D&D is very, very good for that. Craig, good evening to you. Where to even start on this? Where to even start to? Let's try and... some of it just... There we go. It pulls away, but you're just got to be a little bit careful. Otherwise, you end up getting rid of some detail by accident. Like I say, 3D printing is great. Absolutely great for minis. The world's now your oyster when it comes to, seriously, the amount of minis out there on like My Mini Factory and everywhere else you can get. But it is super annoying to have to cut some of this stuff away. You just have to be so careful, because sometimes some of the stuff can just be hidden and you end up accidentally pulling away stuff. Craig, looking more to run something like Dune, never hit it off with D&D. Got your models to paint now. Oh, excellent. Well, actually, one of the games, I was at the UK Games Expo and picked up this, Best Left Buried. Honestly, as a rules light version of D&D, I actually think this is kind of cool. Really, really brutal. Your players will die. In fact, it's entirely meant for your players to die. Hence why character creation is really quick and easy. You only need, like, what, 3d6s in terms of, like, the dice to run it. But, yeah, very, very interesting system. I might maybe do a stream on that at some point, because it's a very interesting system. Very, very easy and quick to do on that front. Oh. You have a Monk Borg. Yeah. Like I say, what I'm painting here is a... Hopefully, when we cut away some of this stuff, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. But this is a Warforged gunslinger for a D&D campaign I've been playing. It's just a short, quick D&D game we've been playing at the club. But, you know, when you finally get your mini painted, and it's like last session coming up, I've sort of felt, well, I need to get I need to get my mini painted. So I'm being so careful, trying not to cut away some of these supports around the 3D printed stuff at the moment, because I don't want to accidentally cut into something and like get rid of any of the detail or pull it off or something like that. You know. There we go. Dune looks great. My group currently is playing Vampire the Masquerade, Starfinder, D&D, Blades in the Dark, Mork Borg. Never played Blades in the Dark. Heard a lot about it though. Heard a lot about Blades in the Dark. I also got by Soul Muppet Publishing this, and I've got to do a lot of reading about it. But honestly, I've never seen this played, but I saw it and this spoke to me. I mean, a doomed Arthurian Western where you play as like Knights of the Round Table in like a fantasy West. That spoke to me instantly. So I'm really going to have a good read through it and figure out how the system works before I try it. But yeah. Instantly, if you're playing hobby streams, I'd love to see you play. Thank goodness you're here. It's basically the video. Yes, I know, Barnsworth. Yeah, set in Barnsley. You all notice that there's a guy at the start of the game in a bowler hat. I would love to meet the creators at some point because I'm not sure if that's actually me in that game, which if it is, would be pretty insane. What system does that? Are you meaning this? Inevitable? It's its own system. I think it might be D20. I'm not sure. I haven't actually read too much into it. Like I say, I just saw it and I thought, well, that looks cool. I'm having that. I'm just still trying to take away some of these supports from this 3D printed model. So I'm just being really careful. So I don't want to accidentally cut away any of the into like any of the detail or accidentally cut a leg off or something like that. Again, never played Vampire. Heard a lot about Vampire. Never played it. Never played it though. But I've heard a lot about it. There we go. Oh, that's better. Let's reveal a little bit more of it. It's not. Go. Nope. Go. So don't accidentally cut this guy's foot off by accident. You need an overhead camera. True, I do need an overhead camera. Could I set that up? Because StreamYard now does dual streaming of cameras. That's a good idea, Howard. I should have investigated that before I started. Do I have my old camera still? Oh, damn. Tell you what, maybe if we do this again, we'll remember that for next time. I had completely forgotten, etc. There we go. See, it's all coming a bit together now, as you can see. Although you can't really see because it just looks like a lump of plastic at the moment. Can't really see much of the detail. There we go. There we go. So that way, there we go. Clear more of this debris away. Is this going to be a regular thing? I don't know. I don't know, Howard. I just thought, just on the random, I was doing it anyway. And I thought, you know what? I'll just turn my live stream on and just start doing it. Just see what happens. Like I say, I'm not the world's best painter when it comes to it, but no, this is my first time actually ever painting a 3D model. So a friend did this in, I think it's because there's two types of 3D printer. There's filament and resin, and this was done in filament. Resin is a lot more detailed, some of it sometimes. So this is the danger part, and you cut away some of the stuff. You've got to try and figure out what's isn't his feet. There we go. Better. Good. Try and still some struts left around his gun. Try and take those out at least. There we go. Better. Hopefully I haven't. No, good. So I think that's most of them. That's most of them gone. Just a few. A little bit. That need movie. Right, where to start with this then? So now we've managed to cut away the supports for it. I suppose we need to go to the base. Just cut those away. Go. when you snip something, it goes. Don't know. That's I think that's quite good. That's come out very, very nice. Hopefully, when you actually start to paint it, it will bring out a lot more of the detail. Goes like that. The moment of truth is, will it actually, of course, stick to the base? This is kind of fun. So that is my that was my super glue. However, haven't used that super glue in a while, as you can tell. So it is now just a hunk of plastic, which I really feel really quite annoyed about, because I paid £4.50 for that and barely used some of it. However, we do have some of this, so hopefully this will, fingers crossed, stick it in. If not, well, I'm going to have to nip down to the hobby shop in the morning. Oh, hang on, I can't because it's moving. Right. Anyway, there we go. Right, hopefully, hold that there for a bit. It should hopefully stick. This is where we find out this doesn't stick well with the resin. Yeah. Again, Call of Cthulhu. Never played Call of Cthulhu. But I have heard just how deadly it is. Like, I do hear that's the thing, as you've said, Craig, players, as long as the players aren't attached to their characters, because that's the whole point of the game. That's the fun of the game. Make your players go mad, essentially. And just enjoy the fun. Like I say, Better Left Buried by Soul Muppet Publishing is, again, I'd show you, but I'm currently trying to make hopefully this will stick. The other game I've just bought, actually, for miniatures, Gaslands. We went to the expo, and the people I was with, everyone bought Gaslands. If you don't know what Gaslands is, it's basically you use your old Hot Wheels, Matchbox cars, and it's rules for, well, Mad Max, post-apocalypse, like, demolition derby type stuff. Is that? Oh no, it's not sticking. Oh no. I bet this doesn't stick well with resin. That's why. Come on. I have to play the old. And, oh yes, we are live streaming for the first time on Kick. So we've got our first Kick viewer, apparently. Hello. Hello, Brandon Looney Tunes fan, 2000. This is my first attempt at a hobby stream. I'm not going to lie, I forgot to set up a second camera, even though I do have a second camera that I could have used. And this is where, again, I think we're finding out super glue and resin does not stick. Or if it does, I'm using the wrong type of glue. But anyway, I'd say trying to get it to stick to its base makes it at least maybe slightly bit easy to paint when it sticks to its base. No, no, no. I say, yeah, this is definitely, I think, where I needed super glue and not this type of glue. Because I don't think this is sticking to each other. Try as I might. It ain't sticking. Oh no. Oh no. Looks to be a bit fragile, but it might be working. Is it? Ah, blast. Blast. Knew that was going to happen. Knew that was going to happen. Oh, yeah, it looks like this glue either ain't going to stick it, and I need a different type of super glue. It's not. And this might mean a trip to the hobby shop. This indeed might mean a trip to the hobby shop indeed. So, how's everyone been? While we hope for this to stick, at least. I don't know if it's not. I don't know if it's not sticking because I don't know if there's still stuff beneath the foot that's making it stop to not do it. Or what? But see, it pulled away. I think it might be working, but I can't tell. I'm just trying to think, have I got anything else? See, I think I'd have some green stuff, but I think that's well out of date from last time I used that. I think we're getting there slowly but surely on this. Let's say this is just the rest of the next to the stream of me just holding it like this in the hopes that it sticks. Oh yes, I did see that Reform UK had lost another councillor today down in Kent. had the whip removed from him and suspended. Which again continues the track record of the parties that Farage has had. Just absolutely awful and terrible vetting of candidates. Which again is not a surprise. Again, has a complete history of doing that in every single party ever been a part of. Let's try this. Let's just really try. So, oh, damn it. Try and soak it in there this time. Hopefully. It should work. If not, I'm just going to have to abandon sticking it to its base and just start painting it anyway. Frustrating. But that's the name of the game. Actually, when it won't stick. Anyway, I'll see if that. So it's standing up. Can it stick? Will it stick? Who knows? We'll leave it there for a moment. Oh. Anyway. Tell you what, let's have. While that waits. Oh. Oh my. This might be good while we wait for this to dry. That's it. Xander West, the historical case against the Conservative Reform Pact. Conservative Home, the only website online that is full of comedy goodness. So let's see what he's got to say about this. Rather than, of course, a media-generated phenomenon around a Reform Conservative alliance, one kind or another has now been sourced as some consternation in recent political affairs. Despite every shadow minister refuting such allegation, Reform's own leadership being completely uninterested, rumours, of course, persist, now to the Conservative Party detriment. Yeah, are we not surprised? Are we not surprised? They all want, in some way, to quote, unite the right. They know it. They know they can't win if Reform's there. If there's another right-wing party, they know they can't win. Pure and simple. They know they can't win. It's how the game's been played for years on this. For years. Do they seem to care? Not a bit. Not a bit. But if they don't, quote, unite the right, they will never win. And they know it full well. So until then, they will constantly lose. Such is the case, of course, of our current political system, how it stands. Anyway, this is because now a few conservatives, including politicians, still support the idea. Again, the idea. The more learned of these, of course, cite the Liberal Unionists as a successful centre-right coalition now in the party's past. In fact, the conditions which made that alliance possible form the case against this very notion of repeating it today, even if it is inherently implausible, unfeasible, and, of course, an air of capitulation were not convincing enough. The old, well, we could try and ally with them, and hopefully, we see what happens. But the chances of this happening are slim to none, because there is in fact, let's see if we can find that somewhere. Where is it? Is it? So this might be it. Let's try and find it in here. And vice versa. Cornwall. Group. The chart. So. Worcester, Northumberland. So to retain their position as the largest party, gave them the impression that they were willing to undertake coalition talks with UK. That's it. Let's try and find this. Where is this? Northumberland. Let's try to find this. This is it. Yes, here it is, Northumberland Gazette. All the best. All the best local news stuff. Oh, should I save this? Oh, shall I save this? Tell you what, I might save this for a proper video. Because honestly, that's well worth doing. Honestly. Later on down the line. And like I say, honestly, there is a lot, so much of like reform just going absolutely crazy and doing all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I think we're in business. Still a little bit shaky. I'll leave it for a bit longer. But it is working. Hooray! But no, I was thinking of using these. If I had like an underwater theme, I don't know if you can see it. If I had an underwater themed basing thing, I would absolutely use these as coral of some sort. Just honestly, these supports look really, really good as some sort of like coral. However, I don't think I've ever based anything underwater. So no coral for that one. Like I say, I was tempted by the Idoneth when they first came out, but I thought I didn't go for them. Instead, I'm a Gloomspite Gits fan, and Cadron Overlords. Those are my AOS armies. And unfortunately for my sins, I'm an Orc and Admech player for 40k. Yeah. Does seem to be working. Does seem to be working, which is good. However, it is definitely coming across as very fragile still, so I might have to be a bit careful about it when I touch it on the base. Not we'll see. Anyway, let's get back to this then, shall we? So, the formation of the Liberal Unionists stemmed now for the consequences of the 1885 general election, which produced a hung parliament with the nationalist Irish Parliamentary Party holding the balance of power. William Gladstone, longtime leader of the Liberal Party, committed himself to Irish Home Rule in response, and thus formed a government. However, a large portion of Liberal opinion, believing, of course, self-governance Ireland would lead to its independence and its devolution of the Union, renounced Gladstone's leadership and formed the Liberal Unionists Council, which 7 months Gladstone might have managed to, of course, split his party, fall out on the second reading of the Home Rule Bill, and decisively lose all ensuing general election back in 1886. The Conservatives then took office in the base of electoral pact with Liberal Unionists, following the internal cooperation of the Parliament rather than a coalition with the leader Spencer Cavendish, Marquis of Harlington, believing would, of course, lose, standing there to the base of the former Liberal voters. It took until 1895, the following second Gladstone Irish government attempted to pass Home Rule, the Liberal Unionists to join in the Conservatives with the government, by which point their separate identity was now failing. The Unionist coalition held with the government resigned back in 1805. The two parties then ultimately merged in 1912, with now today's Conservative and Unionist Party. A bit of history for you there. I should really name this Politics and Maybe Paint, this stream. Like I say, we'll eventually get to it, I'm sure, when it dries, but it is drying quite nicely, so we'll see. Anyway, the reasons for success of the Conservative pact with Liberal Unionists was a matter of now composition. Liberals had always been very heterogeneous group in the years, of course, before 1886, and are increasingly split between their foundational Whig and Radical factions. The Radicals used the emergence of mass politics to accelerate their organisation, demands now to attempt to try and take the party to initiative, and shifted Gladstone's government leftwards. Meanwhile, the Whigs derived from the aristocracy as well as some of the newer class of self-made industrialists and businessmen were now the moderating force of the party, to the extent of occasionally producing quite conservative administration figures like Henry John Temple and the third Viscount Palmerston. Gladstone originated neither faction, but it was neither known radical. Yet before, of course, the Home Rule crisis began, the Whigs had, of course, grown disillusioned with his leadership ability to defend the party against radicalism. Hence, now he created the Liberal Unionists to overwhelm the Whigs, acting the conservative instinct to protect union on behalf of Gladstone was no longer prepared to withstand peace of change. Initially, they still perceived themselves against the Guardians, particular coalition of liberalism, instead of conservatism, especially in the House of Lords. The original code of noble families almost pride themselves on having recreated an independent Whig party. Nevertheless, there was a very similar attempt and even outlook with the Conservatives, which turned out to be a long-term common interest opposed to no rule. Socialists drew, again, most Liberal unions close to the Conservative positions as alliance continued. However, that was where an also incongruous yet vocal minority of radicals which defected, led by the Whigs' arch rival Joseph Chamberlain and his National Radical Union, was again a later unexpected, rather unwelcome arrival. Predicting now a policy of force of ageing Gladstone's retirement, now on Home Rule's defeat, to take leadership of the Liberals himself. Given the very dogmatic radical ideology, Chamberlain now planted himself into opposition to Harlington's Liberal Unionists, sharing the platforms with the Conservatives, not that he was liked by either. This plan was now to attempt to reconcile the Liberal Party in 1887. Both failed, leaving him isolated with dozens of MPs. Again, a load of history. This is how the Conservative Party happened. It was an alliance of convenience. Now consider reform, conversation of his leadership. Only individuals in individual affairs, particularly inverse Liberal unionists, need to heed the radical attitudes, predominance. The Conservative minded now, of course, nowhere to be found. Again, it looks like, oh, it's a pro-Jerrick one. Of course, Robert Jerrick would come up here. Robert Jerrick create the coalition of voters. Really? Robert Jerrick create a coalition of voters? Oh, that's funny. Robert Jerrick couldn't create a coalition of himself, let alone voters. Anyway, have we dried? Are we willing? Just almost there. Be dried soon enough. We do want to see the full thing. This is what we are painting, by the way, or at least what it's meant to look like, if you're interested. Hang on. There we go. That's what it's meant to be. Of course, that's more in resin. What we've got here is more in filament on that way. But you get the idea. It's why resin, why the resin printers are a lot more preferred by people out there, because you get a lot of the very nice detail. But resin isn't bad. You can still do a lot of very nice stuff with the resin. But essentially, that is what we are trying to paint. We get it, at least when it's dried. Anyway. Thing is, this is where you want to start. You worry about if you touch it with a brush, it will. I want to be very careful with it, at least. Tell you what, let's go really lightly into this to begin with. Yes, we shall, I think, base coat it black, I think, to begin with. Although, should I do it in purple? Should we do it in contrast purple? That would be interesting. Decisions. No, I'll tell you what. Keep to what we know. Let's start off with this. Hopefully it doesn't fall off while we're painting it. This is what I was worried about when you're painting it. It becomes very unstable, but because you need to be a little bit firm with your brush, it wobbles about so much and you get like, and now I'm worried. Now I'm worried it's not dried still, or it's not set properly enough. Need to be able to do it. Tell you what, we do that. That should at least hold it. That's holding a bit better. Hopefully, I just haven't undone it completely. Just get the cape at the back there. Okay, it's so much better once you've put some paint on it as well, because now you can really see. I can really see some of the detail on this coming out. Which is very nice. Again. I don't think this is dried properly. The super glue. I think I need a stronger glue. I can still feel it. You can see it. I don't know if you can see it. It's wobbling a bit. Oh, it's annoying. I'm going to need a stronger glue. Oh, that's much better as well. See, put a little bit of colour on this. At least a little bit of paint, shall we say. And all the details are now starting to come out, which is very nice. Very nice. So I'm just a bit worried though about a super glue situation. Other than that, it's not coming out too bad actually. Very nice. Thing is, I've never done anything 3D before. Wait, are you going to watch paint dry better than UK politics? Well, it depends. I mean, with the whole, winter fuel allowance being reversed today, he should have totally stuck to his guns on that. I wish he had done, because I'm sorry, if you know OAPs, especially well-off OAPs, like complaining about the fact that they're losing it, and it's like, you don't need it. You absolutely, totally do not need it. But we are on course, and I think I've said this somewhere before. I think we're on course for a very, very big, at some point, some generational clash between like OAPs and younger voters, or at least slightly older voters. It's just what's going to be the issue. Oh, yeah, and there it is. There it is. I knew it would. I knew it hadn't stuck. God damn it. Curses. Oh, I'll try and keep it as best as we can. There we go. Hopefully. Maybe. Oh. This is why I'm going to get paint all over my hands. It's going to make pressing buttons later on during the stream very annoying. Damn it. I was hoping it would stick, but no. It's sort of stuck, but I don't know. I think it's the resin. I think it's because this resin I've never painted with this type of stuff before on a 3D printer. So I am sort of in the dark when it comes to like what's the best glue to use. Like I say, I'm just using normal sort of liquid cement, as they call it, but it's I don't know if it's. I don't even know. It's also if it's not strong enough. This might be a case of I might have to try and pin it to the base. Annoyingly, yeah, I don't have any pins, so I can't even do that now, which is again frustrating. Frustrating, but there you go. But anyway, there's its first sort of coat of paint. No, the camera's not that too good, but it is. Brought out a lot more of the detail. A lot more of the detail on that. So probably have to let that dry first. On that. This is sticking to it. There we go. Let's keep a little bit better. There we go. Get some of the gaps here. There we go. The leg. Knees. Yep. Sort of. It's sort of dried, but I'm not still too sure, to be honest, about the glue. I think that maybe the material that the 3D printer used is not good at sticking to each other. And I think you need a lot stronger glue, or it needs to be pinned. One way or the other. I can't make my mind decide up. I can't make my mind up yet. How I'm going to do that yet. We'll see. It's still a bit. You can see it leaning just a bit, so it's still drying a bit. Still drying a bit. But it is much better. Like I say, just putting that first layer of paint on has vastly brought out a lot of the detail that I couldn't see before. So just around the body here, there's a whole load of straps and things like that as well. And there's a couple of details in the leg as well, cracks in the leg, the metal boots. And the only thing that hasn't, again, maybe it's the 3D printing, but it's the gun that seems to be just a little bit bad in comparison to the rest of the model. But again, maybe that was the file. Maybe that was the... Maybe it just didn't come out that good on the 3D printer. Like I say, maybe it does need to be done in resin rather than filament. But that's the first base coat done. That is the first base coat done. So now we'll let it dry a bit. I'll tell you what that does also. Let's do a little bit on the base as well. Why not? Why not? Can't be too scared about getting paint on the ends, as they say. Only well, the thing is that I haven't got anything else to hold it, so it's just like I'm gonna take all the paint off, move my hands around it. There we go. Champion. There we go. Base coat done. Now then, what colors are we going to paint it? That's the next question. So let's just get in there. Let's try and get some of these cape folds that I managed to get into the base coat, just so. Just can't see any grey. Bit better. There we go. That's a bit better. Oh. There we go. That's the other thing as well. Hopefully it will dry in a decent place. Otherwise, when you stand it, it's going to be like, look, a little bit wonky. That's the base coat done. It's brought out a lot of the detail. A lot of the detail that wasn't there before. You couldn't really see when it was just its beginning phase. But that's turned out all right. It sort of turned out all right. Ish, she says. There you go. Big part of base painting any model, of course, make sure you can't see any of the grey. Don't waste when you're painting it later. It looks a lot better. Whilst the grey really stands out sometimes, or at least the original model plastic really stands out sometimes. You're going to use some different colours for it. There we go. Although I am very worried. Oh, it's not going to stick. Part of me, again, if I had some green stuff, I might just go to the heel at the back and just stick some green stuff underneath that heel. So it's got a little bit more of a, maybe a more stable base. Maybe that might help. But no, that's good. That's good. To start, at least, start for 10. Starter for 10, painting a Warforged or a Warforged Gunslinger. Just still worried that it's just so bendable. Transport's going to be a nightmare. Transport's going to be a nightmare for it. Yeah, see, it's already it's a bit more straight. I might have to put some more glue on that. That might be a put some more super glue on it around it, or at least hope for the best during the night. Hopefully it doesn't take too much punishment. Let's clean my brush. Bit better. Okay. Brush cleaned. So now we play the waiting game and hope that it sticks, as they say. Oh, what we're doing? We're painting my D&D character. So I got this 3D printed, Ben. Done the base coat, but I'm a bit worried that this filament that the printer used, that the super glue isn't the best when it comes to sticking those two items together. So either I need a lot stronger super glue, or I might need to pin it. But I don't have any pins to pin it with. So either way, tomorrow morning, it's a trip to the hobby shop on the way to the office, maybe. Or maybe I'll do it at lunchtime, depending what I've got on. It varies. It's the same thing, really. I mean, any techniques you've got for any painting Warhammer stuff applies to any mini. So yeah, it doesn't matter. A big thing is just will it stay to its base? So again, you can't really see it on the camera, but sometimes it is very, very, yeah, it is very shaky. Very shaky. I don't know if it's the front or the back foot that's causing it to be like that. Because I've had some green stuff. As I said before, I just shove it underneath, bit underneath the back of the back foot to make it at least a little bit more stable. I think it's all on the front foot. It's all on the front foot. Used to effing up though. we all effed it up. Trust me, there are people out there who have wardrobes full of the stuff when they used to paint when they were younger. It's still a bit. Still a bit wobbly though. Just a problem. So I don't want to. Tell you what, let us get this. Let's put some more super glue around it. See if that could somehow save the day. Because this glue is normally really good sticking plastics together. Normally very, very good at sticking plastics, this stuff. But like I say, I've never done anything with a 3D printer before. So I'm thinking maybe the glue just isn't strong enough for this type of material. Yeah, I'm just still a bit worried about it. So obviously the thing is, if you want to paint it, I've got to be like quite firm with my brush sometimes just to get some of the paint on. And I don't want to do it in my paint and it just comes straight off the base. It'd be really frustrating. Really frustrating. The best collectible I've got is the boxed Isaac Clarke Necromorph figures. I've got the paint work on them is excellent. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the paint on them, paint work on them is very, very good. But no, that's oh, there he goes. Thought so. Bit too wild. Bit too free. There he goes. There he goes. Oh, damn. Knew he wasn't properly stuck together. Yeah, biggest problem is just making sure it's stuck down properly. I mean, maybe I do just need to leave it overnight. Just hopefully on the morning it's stuck in, which I might have to. So that's our little first painting live stream done that I thought I'd do. Like I say, I was just bored. Just thought I would do it. I know it's not what I normally do, but maybe next time we'll do a painting politics when I've got a little bit, maybe more like batch painting to do next time. Next time I do have some stuff like that. Maybe we'll do that again because I've done that before in the past. That went actually quite down well that time I did that stream. But no, we shall leave it there for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. My experiment live streaming on Kick as well actually works by the looks of it. We've had someone from Kick in the on the comments from what I can see, so that's good. That's good at least. Oh yes, and I didn't turn this on either. I don't want to get paint on my mouse. Didn't think of that. Come to take a stage. So turn. Oh no one's commenting now, so you probably won't be able to see it. But anyway, that's on. Yeah, I'm going to remember to turn that on in the future. However, we'll turn it off at the moment. But yes, like I say, thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, next stream should be called Watching Paint Dry. Probably. Probably. Yeah. No, like I say, it's my first time ever trying something, or at least painting and assembling something that has been 3D printed. Some at the club 3D printed on it because I found on a really nice 3D model for the D&D game I'd been playing. So got it, bought it, sent it with the STL file, got it printed. Like I say, never ever used anything with these types of like plastic before because it's very, very different to what you would normally have from any other type of plastic before. But I'll say this now, cutting away some of this stuff does actually look like very nice sea terrain. Looks like a lot of coral. Don't know if you can see that, but it's very, very coral-like. So if I ever need any sea terrain, so I might keep these little snips just in case I ever need any sea terrain in the future, or like little bits and pieces. And then I can use them maybe as coral or something like that. Ah, no, it is falling over. Right. That's bad. It's bad. That's annoying. Anyway, as always, thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, we'll see you all next time.